too. It is January, and we're halfway through the budget year, and what do we need to know about that?
Well, it's the beginning of the new year, not the budget year, but really the second half of our budget year.
Right.
We just had the election of the County Council Chairman. Tommy Dunn was reelected to be Chairman of the Anderson County Council for another year. Councilman Brett Sanders was elected Vice Chairman. So we've done that, and then coming up will be the appointment of committees. So that will take place at the next council meeting, and then I would imagine after that council will begin committee work on various and sundry items, of which there are many various and sundry items. One of the things that we've been working on lately, as a matter of fact this week, as a matter of fact this morning, is that the council would like us to have a van for veterans in Anderson County. Currently, veterans can get transportation if they go to the VA clinic, from the clinic to the Dorn VA facility. But what we're running into, and we've got around 20,000 veterans in Anderson County, is that people are having trouble getting to the VA facility. Now that van can only go up and down from here to Columbia. So we're looking to purchase a van that would allow us to pick people up locally in Anderson, carry them to local doctor's appointments, carry them to the VA facility out on 81, and possibly to doctor's visits in Greenville. So hopefully we can have that implemented here in probably 60 days. So that's one of the things that council would really like to accomplish right now. So that's one of the things we're working on, continuing to look at the jail study, continuing economic development efforts.
The budget included raises for employees and stuff. It's all been phased in now, haven't it?
All of that's been phased in. Everything's in. The hiring freeze that was in effect for 6 months expired on January 1. So, but we're not pell-mell rushing to hire people, but gradually ramping up, because in some of our departments, the wintertime is a little slower. So there's some things we can't do, like a lot of mowing and things like that. Council has directed us to work on a major countywide cleanup, something that we've done many times, but this would be along the lines of where actually county employees will, during the week, get out and we will all pick up trash. So we're looking to put that together, because our roads still need a lot of attention. And so we've got that going on, and there's so many other things.
Well, the census is going to kick in this year. What do people need to know about why that's important that they fill out their census?
Well, it is very important because the apportion of funds from various state and federal agencies are highly dependent on that. And you certainly want to make sure that your county gets its fair share. The other thing that's very important is for people to remember that this is in the Constitution that you do the census. This is not a new thing. This is not a policy. It's in the foundation of our country that every 10 years we will do a census. But I think what you're going to find when this census is completed, and hopefully we have 100% count, which would be to our benefit, is you're going to see a lot of South Carolina Senate, South Carolina House, and County Council lines redrawn. And you're going to have some districts expanding and some shrinking. So that's going to be very interesting, and that's going to happen at least in the growing portions of the state. And so that's fascinating for me to look at, and we already have some early indications that if the Powdersville area, that district's going to shrink. And so are they going to be moving Senate lines?
They're going to shrink in terms of the
geographical size.
Right.
Because pretty much every council district should have around 28,000 people in it.
Right.
Well, if you got 28,000 people in a little area, then that's a district.
Right.
But again, the census has to be completed, and we're making a big effort, working in concert with a lot of different agencies to make sure that people are aware of it, that we can count you and get everybody on board.
And is council getting any closer to moving towards that referendum question for the Rhodes, the Penny sales tax?
We are looking at the formulation of how that question could appear on the ballot to give to council, because they would like to study it, because it has to be done exactly right.
How soon do they have to have that question in?
Probably within the next 2 months to have that question in and to get it verified and to make sure it meets all legal ramifications.
And talking about paving, it's been a priority, and there's a lot of paving still going on. I guess this time of year is a little slow, more planning because of cold weather.
It's a little slow, but we're getting a list of roads, which we already have a list of roads, but trying to prioritize those roads, and the towns are also doing the same thing, getting their road list in to go to the Anderson County Transportation Commission. So you've got that going on. So it's a lot of planning work right now, but it's also a lot of pothole patching and cleaning out ditches and things like that going on right now. And that's what you can do in the winter.
You mentioned economic development. Is January typically a slow time for economic development?
December's generally slow. This January has started out gangbusters, so I'm hoping that everything that's in the pipeline right now comes to fruition, because there's a whole lot of it.
Anything big coming soon?
Well, 400 jobs is big to me. Of course, 10 jobs is big to me. So we're looking for all of those things to happen within the next 6 months, and we're expecting our existing partners to continue to expand their operations. And we've been meeting with some of our existing industries, and they do have plans to expand and or move operations here from other parts of the world. So we're very happy about that.
Have we sort of shifted the spec building thing to letting private people buy them? I mean, it looks like we've got some people trying to buy spec buildings and not the county getting out buying spec buildings.
Well, you have those three going up in Powdersville, and we think that's very good. But I like to think the fact that we proposed building a spec building and somebody bought it before we even built it, and then where Arthrex is, we bought that, and Arthrex bought that before we could even started. So we've proven that there's money to be made if you build one, that somebody will come in there. So right now, we don't have any plans to build one, because right now we don't have to build one.
Well, that's a good problem to have, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
When's the next meeting with the folks on the downtown design?
It will be the end of January. And I've had conversations with folks at the city on that project. We're working back and forth on a lot of different projects. So end of January is when we expect to get an update on that and have some more intensive discussions on what, when, and where. And
again, we've been following up on this. Where are we on this construction on the sign on the Georgia line?
Maybe this week they ought to start that. We've re-landscaped the one from the Greenville side, and hopefully this week or next week we'll be able to have that sign up, at least have that sign up coming in from the Georgia side.
What's the last update you got on the sewer construction and movement towards that?
We have a meeting this Thursday, another meeting this Thursday with Pendleton and Clemson to talk about our joint wastewater treatment plant. So we have that going on, and we have various projects that are either out to bid or in the process of plans being done. So all of that's moving along smartly, but not fast enough to suit me, but it never does.
Well, there's a lot of construction going on. We've already talked about Green Pond and Broadway Lake. And is Kidventure right on target for what we're looking at?
Kidventure, we hope to have in July accommodations tax money, which is money from people staying in hotel rooms, another $300,000. And the city should have a huge portion of that money sometime in March. And so working together with the city and the county, we should have the money necessary by July. But we're working and pretty much have the plans now on what we want to do.
And talking about that, funds are already in place for some big projects. Dolly Cooper had a big meeting last week. And
yes, we had a big meeting on that. The first priority from that meeting, 150 people attended, is a baseball field. And we're working with play, and we'll include play in the plans for that. We're also working on docks in that area. We're also working on a walking trail in that area, and several other things that we're looking at in that area. The big one's going to be the master plan, but the baseball field's not going to wait on the master plan, and the walking trail's not going to wait on the master plan. So hopefully we're going to get those things done, and we also have some work to do at Hurricane Springs Park too.
And Mayor Blake Sanders is going to be the sort of point man on getting the word out to the public on how they can have their input on the Dolly Cooper Park.
Mayor Blake Sanders is also a landscape architect.
Right.
And before he was the mayor, he did work for Anderson County as a landscape architect.
He's lectured all over the country and consulted all over the country.
And he also lectures at Clemson University. He's a adjunct professor there, so he'll be working on that and leading that process with us. He worked on the Swamp Rabbit Trail and a lot of other things, but he's a hometown local hero.
Yeah, he really is.
Yes, he is.
Are there any other county buildings that are significant that need work or updating or anything that we're
The
waiting
building we're in right now, the Anderson County Courthouse, needs $500,000 worth of work up on the roof and in the structural timbers. We already have the price on that, and we're probably looking towards that in the next budget year. But that's $500,000 right there. In addition to the new roof we put on the new courthouse, the 27-year-old new courthouse, and the roof we put on the Civic Center, and the roof we put on the museum. So we've been in the roof business.
Yeah, I think people forget the upkeep on buildings, how
Yes.
expensive that can be.
And these are their buildings.
Council also approved funding I guess early winter, late fall, for a new, more user-friendly website for the county. Where are we at on that?
The new website for the county, that's in the process. They've selected, and our people are working with the company to do that. We're also going to have a new economic development website, and we're working on that too. So both of those projects are underway.
And we've gone through now a full year. How is the self-funded insurance working with county employees?
We've had 6 months of experience. It has been a very good but bumpy ride, as we expected. We expect it to continue to be a bumpy ride for 6 months, but I still think the insurance that we have is much better than what we had in the past. And we knew there were going to be issues and problems, and we're just waiting until we see till the end of the year how we turn out.
And the best place for people to keep up with Anderson County, I guess, is still Facebook and the website and the Anderson County television
website
station,
and the Anderson County television station,
which is available on any format you have.
Any format you have, you can pull it up.